So on a recent video, I mentioned the fact that I'd started up the Chinese TDs, and the first one up was the Tier 2, the T-26G FT Ace Tanker, which was a tank based on the T-26, the Russian T-26 light tank, and, you know, again, it was unclear whether or not this tank actually existed. It was supposedly used as the basis for a couple of anti-tank designs, but nothing else is known about it. In fact, nothing very much is known about the Chinese tank destroyer lines at all. And I even had severe problems trying to find out what the FT stood for because I couldn't find it listed anywhere under Chinese military designations. So other than the fact it was a ballistic missile, the FT stood for Fei Tang, which means to fly, and it was given to ballistic missiles. So I couldn't figure out what this was in reference to a tank destroyer. And then I mentioned the fact that if any of you guys have more information, I couldn't find it. Chinese information on Chinese TDs seems to be extremely limited. If you guys have any more information or any idea what the FT stands for, let me know. And you did, because basically WKCW1, thank you so much, found a link that might explain it, which is the Armoured Patrol. And I said, this is brilliant, thank you. You have no idea how long I was searching and never thought to look at Armoured Patrol because, I kind of haven't looked. I used to use this a lot, and I kind of moved away from it. And I just had no reason to go back and revisit this website in a long time, but I really should because it's an incredibly good website. And I clicked the link and I went here, and a complete, dating from February of this year, a revisiting the Chinese TD line, and this is a hypothetical TD line that the Armoured Patrol put together, which goes from Tier 2 all up to Tier 10 hypothetically. Now, I'm aware of a few of the tanks on this list, and that's why I was very surprised that those TDs, which did exist, didn't actually appear in the Chinese TD line, because there are very few Chinese TDs, and the ones that did exist I thought would have been in the tech tree, but they weren't. So this basically goes through from Tier 1 all the way, or from Tier 2 all the way up to Tier 10, including tanks like the Renault UE-37. I'm very surprised that Wargaming didn't think to maybe check this, or don't have a list of these tanks. Here is this is the theory, or this is the hypothetical Tier 3, which is the M3A3 Stuart. Now, this is actually in-game as the M3G FT, which is the Ace Tanker today, that I'm going to be showing you in a bit. So this was the hypothetical Tier 3, according to the Armoured Patrol, and it's the Tier 3 in-game, and it's the only tank that is on both lists at Tier 3. But even still, the tank that we actually get here is the tank with a turret, and it basically was given a 57mm, and it was the 57mm mounted in the M3 Stuart's turret. So the fact that the tank we have in game is turretless, that's different, but technically it's still the M3 Stuart at Tier 3, and it goes down through other tank destroyers. For example, this is a amphibious tank, the LVT-4 mod, but it could be used as a tank destroyer. I mean, there's nowhere else in the game it would fit in, and it would be an historically accurate tank. But you could see here, by mounting a gun on it, basically you turn it into a TD as opposed to a tank. And it moves on to the first, or the tank I actually did know about, which is the Type 63. This is a potential Tier 5, but there are real pictures. You can see it here. I was kind of really surprised that this wasn't listed in the list of tanks for China in the first place, either as a medium or a light tank, or as a TD. I thought maybe it would have gone in here as a TD, but anyway, we move on, and then we get down to some hypothetical TDs here, which are kind of AA guns that could have been used, probably weren't, but could have been used as TDs. The AA1 and the AA2, the 63. These are potential AA guns that could be used as TDs, by mounting a different gun on them, of course, because you can't have the double barrel. Wouldn't really work in the game as is. And then we move down to the potential, where is it, Tier 9 and 10, which are tanks that did exist. Look at these monsters. These are potential Tier 9s, potential Tier 10s. These are basically FV215B 183s. Absolutely huge tanks that could have been used as tier 9 and 10 TDs. So this is a very interesting list, and some of these tanks did exist. In fact, most of these tanks did exist, and the list is here with potential historical accuracy put in as well. So I found the article incredibly interesting, and it's more information than I was able to dig up by myself. So that is the first thing. So I really want to thank WKCW1 for this link, and I'm going to put the link in the description below, so if you want to check this out, you can. Armoured Patrol, I don't know why I haven't visited this site in so long, but anyway, that's the first thing. So there is potential there, if Wargaming were to see this article, to actually put in a second Chinese TD line, one that is more historically accurate than the one that's in the game at the moment. But the other thing I wanted to do was the thing that was really annoying me was some of the guns, or I assume this means TDs, some of the TDs may feature FT at the end, as it stands for anti-tank. There we go, it's there. It stands for Fan Tang Kepao. I've no idea. Forgive my Chinese here, but yeah. So FT basically stands for anti-tank. So it's a bit like the T-25 AT for the Americans. If it's an American tank, it has AT at the end. It means anti-tank, and that's what the FT stands for on the Chinese tank destroyers. It just means anti-tank at the end of it. So WZ-120 FT is the WZ-120 anti-tank. So yeah, really interesting article, and my questions have been answered, most of them at least. So again, I want to thank WKCW1 for this. I'll post the article, as I say, the link to the article in the description below if you want to check it out yourself. But I had a lot of fun reading this. I've learned a lot about potential Chinese TDs, and I really hope someone from Wargaming is also watching or reading this article, because yeah, I think there's actually room now for a second Chinese TD line. More content into the game is always a good thing. Anyway, let's get on with today's video. Hi folks, and welcome to the Ace Tanker for the M3G FT, yes, the M3 Stuart anti-tank. So as I mentioned on a recent video, I'm going up the Chinese TD lines, new content added to the game, so now it's the turn of the tier 3, and this is probably the most historically accurate TD in the new Chinese TD line, because there's a lot of evidence to suggest that this was a TD. However, there were still questions. There are still, possibilities that liberties were taken. I'm not quite sure, because, according to the article I posted before this video, the gun was supposed to be a 57mm ZIS-4, which is a gun that's not available in game. There's an earlier version, the ZIS-2, on the tank, and also there's no mention of whether or not the turret was removed in order to install the gun, so I'm not quite sure. Can't find any images of this tank in real life, but it's probably one of the most accurate TDs in game. FT stands for anti-tank, gotta remember that. But yeah, in 1943, the National Revolutionary Army were using M3 Stuarts that were given to them by America under the Lend-Lease program. Now, by the late 1940s, those M3 Stuarts were getting a little bit long in the tooth. They were undergunned, they were underperforming, they were breaking down, there was a lack of spare parts, there were a lack of mechanics to fix them, but that didn't stop the PLA from managing to capture a bunch of these in the late 1940s from the National Revolutionary Army. So the People's Liberation Army captured the M3 Stuarts, and they had the same problem. Lack of parts, problems keeping them running, problems keeping them relevant, so they decided to upgun them and turn them into TDs, and they decided to upgun them by installing a ZIS-4, which is a 57mm based on the Russian gun. Now, you know, whether or not that happened or whether or not they had to remove the turret, as I say, is unknown. But anyway, regardless, we have this tank in game, and it's probably more historically accurate than most of the others. So anyway, according to Wargaming, this particular configuration never actually got built. Although according to the Armoured Patrol, it did get built, but it was using a different gun. So I think, as I say, there's still a little bit of some liberties taken by Wargaming. So again, Wargaming are saying that this version of the tank basically didn't even make it to prototype. It was just considered. So, you know, and it was discontinued due to the fact that China was able to import the T-34-85 and use that instead of having to convert older tanks. But yeah, I don't know whether or not we'll ever know the full story. But yeah, in-game, this tank is not very good. It really isn't very good. I didn't enjoy my time in this tank. I ground through it, finished the grind, and hadn't aced it, so I ended up having to play a few more games in it in order to pick up the ace. But the game before this, interesting enough, I picked up a Top Gun, and I finished just about 5 or 6 XP short of the XP I got in this game. The game before this was a first class, so came very, very close to acing it in the game before this one. But this one, I got the extra 6 XP I needed and ended up getting the ace. So yeah, I didn't like the tank very much. Basically, I didn't like the armor. The fact that the gun shield here is only 10 millimeters and it's very, very tall. It means that if you're trying to use bushes, you can get spotted. You can get spotted incredibly easy. You can get penned. Things with autoloaders will tear you apart. The upper hull here is only 20 millimeters thick, so again, pretty much everything is going to pen you. The lower glacis here is 50 millimeters, but you know, why shoot here when you can basically shoot the gun mantlet that's 10 or the front of the tank that's 20? So yeah, I didn't like the armor. The mobility was fine in a straight line. It's okay in a straight line. And then the other problem with this tank is its gun depression, because it's very, very tall. And as I say, the gun shield has no armor, and yet it only has 5 degrees of gun depression. So it means in order to use this tank on hills or rises, you've got to expose pretty much most of your tank, which means you're an easy target and an easy kill. So yeah, I didn't enjoy it very much. But what is interesting about this tank is the fact it gets a choice of 2 guns. And I couldn't make up my mind which one was better. So I ended up using the final gun for this particular game, which is a 76mm, but the stock gun is a 57mm ZIS-2, which, again, historically inaccurate because it was supposed to be a ZIS-4. But what's interesting is that the damage and penetration are switched between the 2 guns. So if you're using the stock gun, the 57mm, you've got 115mm of pen and 85 damage. But if you're using the 76mm, you've got 115mm of 115 damage and 85 pen. So the pen and the damage are switched between the 2 guns. Now, the 57mm ZIS-2, it's more rapid firing, even though the alpha isn't as high. But the aim time is absolutely horrible, which, you know, so it's rapid firing, it's relatively accurate, but the aim time is terrible. So I ended up using this particular gun instead, which, you know, I didn't find too bad, but 85mm of penetration up against, you know, sometimes getting into tier 5 games, not, you know, it's not a lot of fun. So I did end up having to fire premium now and again against tier 5s, 106mm of penetration with 115 damage, which is okay. And then of course the HE isn't terrible at 38 and 165. So yeah, lack of gun depression and absolutely no armor, but once again, like the Chinese tanks, it seems to have a decent choice of guns. So both these 57mm ZIS-2 or the 76mm ZIS-3 are both fine. You know, if you prefer alpha over damage or alpha over penetration, go for the 76mm. If you prefer the penetration over alpha, go for the 57mm. But as I say, I just found the aim time on the 57mm not very good. So that's pretty much it. As I say, lack of gun depression also made it very, very annoying. But we're going to go. We're here on Erlenberg. A tier 3 and a tier 4 game. Okay. Oh, it's been a while. Been a while since I played this, but okay. We're gonna move over, and I figured that, you know, I want to pick up an ace, so that means I need to be doing damage, and I need to play it aggressively, and that's Another part of the problem with this tank is if you play it aggressively, that lack of armor gets you into trouble. But you can see we've got a 55 kilometer an hour top speed, but we're struggling to get above 40. So, you know, I found it's okay in a straight line, but if you start trying to maneuver, it's got a very wide turning circle. Yeah, the engine power just isn't there. So that's a very, very good start to the game. Enemy T-56 kills the enemy Type 91. Yeah, alright, good start to the game. So, you know, what I was thinking when I was playing this, and I was thinking, oh, okay, well, that's one less tank I can damage. That's one less opportunity to get XP out of this game. And now the Hetzer has destroyed the T-56 GMC, and it's like, okay. So now there's even less XP on the field. There's even less hit points on the field for the enemy team. But we swing around and we've got roughly about 20 degrees of gun traverse, which is okay. But yeah, there we go. 2 shots in, we take out the Panzer 38T. Once again, staying at distance. Oh, not much to shoot at. Let's see the accuracy here. So you can see the aim time, even though it's better on this gun than it is on the 57mm, is still not good. But he goes down. And now this is where it's hell for this tank, because you move up and you've got absolutely no gun depression. You've got to expose so much of your tank in order to get your gun on target. Yeah, so we're going to sit here, we're going to let our binocs kick in. Yeah, one thing that disappointed me about this tank, although I suppose it's an American tank as opposed to a Chinese tank, is the view range. The view range is very, very disappointing. So we get one shot into the looks, and now we're having problems trying to get an outline, but we do manage to get a shot in. Yeah, I don't know where the outline is, but okay, he's gone. He's run away. So we're going to advance again. I kind of want to be aggressive here because I want to spot my own targets. I don't want to share my XP. I want the ace so I can get out of this tank and sell it. But yeah, sit and let my binocs kick in, and as you can see, I've only got, you know, probably about 350, maybe 380 meters of view range with my binocs. So yeah, I found the view range kind of disappointing on the tank as well. But we're advancing because most of the enemy team are now on the mini-map. I doubt there are very many tanks left down here in front of me, so we're just going to move up, and, you know, we've only picked up 330 damage, we've only picked up 1 kill. It's kind of disappointing, but I'm hoping to get up here, have to deal with the poor gun depression again, exposing a lot of my tank, but hoping to swing around, and there we go. I have to expose so much of my tank here. But higher alpha damage means we can two-shot kill. Someone kill him, but okay, Matilda. Okay, so yeah, we can put a few shots in here. Tier 4, shooting him with a Tier 3. Bouncing, trying to find shots into his engine deck. There we go. So, one more to kill. And there we go. So, yeah, alright, we're up to 2 kills and 700 damage. So go for a blind shot and where the Cruiser 4 was last spotted, but there are only 3 tanks. Only 3 tanks left on the enemy team, and I'm thinking, oh no, I'm going to have to play this tank again. So, SU-5, no shots. Looks, no shots, and, yeah, okay. Do I swing around and go for the Cruiser 4, who seems to be missing? Oh, SU-5 has come up. Oh, he's poking, he's poking, he's poking. Do we risk a shot? We risk a shot before being fully aimed. Take him out for kill number 3. And now the looks, and oh, the shot was just a little bit too late. We glance around for the Cruiser 4. Is he going to cross the bridge? Nope, he's swinging around and he gets taken out. So this is disappointing. Only on 800 damage and 3 kills, but Tier 3, and I would have... Oh, okay, Cruiser was waiting for me, but we can aim, take him out, and we're left on two hit points. Yeah, this thing, absolutely no armor. So, I was a little bit disappointed with this ace, and because the game before this one was a heck of a lot better. We picked up 6 kills in the previous game, the game was evenly balanced, it was on a knife edge, it was far more exciting, and then this one popped up in a know-nothing game, which was basically a raffle stomp, where our team advanced, the enemy team spent the first part of the game killing each other, which meant I didn't think it was going to be an ace, didn't think I was going to get enough damage, but it turned it into an ace, and I was very surprised to see that even though the previous game was more kills, more damage, this one was 685 XP and the previous one was 679 XP, so just 6 XP in the difference between a first class and an ace on this particular day I was playing, so happy to see it, happy to get it. Wasn't an amazing game, and I'm very surprised it was an ace, but it's done, it's dusted, and it's sold, because I didn't didn't like the tank very much. 16 shots fired, hit 11, only penned 10, which is kind of disappointing, but you get less pen with the 76mm than you do with the 57mm. 95 assistance damage again, which was disappointing, and 15,000 credits earned. Wasn't my first game of the day. I actually wanted to get rid of this tank, so I played it till I aced it. Yeah, because I just didn't enjoy it very much. It's got no armor, it's got no gun depression, it's a huge target, the camo rating doesn't seem to be very good, and one of the problems I had with this tank, and probably one of the reasons I disliked it a lot, is the fact I was playing it with a 75% crew right up till the game before this one, because I put out my obligatory YouTube rant, and some of you guys were just, well, a lot of you guys blew me away. A lot of donations, a lot of premium tags purchased for me, a lot of gold purchased for me, and a lot of, you know, money put into Patreon. I didn't even mention Patreon because I haven't officially launched it, but you know, I got PayPal donations, I got Patreon donations, and you guys are absolutely awesome. I'm going to be making a video probably tomorrow, because I'm free tomorrow, all day tomorrow. I should be able to sit down and make a video tomorrow, thanking you guys. But you guys have been amazing. So with some of the gold that was donated, I was able to put a 100% crew in here. So when I ground through this tank, it was with a 75% crew, and I absolutely hated it. As soon as I put the 100% crew in, you could notice the difference. It was a much more responsive tank, much better. I won't call it fun to play. I still don't like the tank, but it made a huge difference between a 100% crew and a 75% crew. So thank you so much for your donations. Thank you for your generosity. I'll, as I say, hope to make a video tomorrow explaining how things went. But yeah, you guys are amazing. So M3G FT is done. It's dusted. It's sold. I moved on to the tier 4. So I played the tier 4 from stock, and I aced it first game. So that's going to be a video you're going to be getting very soon. So once again, I want to thank WKCW1 for sending me the link to the Armoured Patrol, telling me more about Chinese TDs. I'll put that link in the description below. But yeah, as I said, you guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.